And today we are going to talk about chapter 15 in The Girl Who Drank the Moon, a Newbery Medal winning book by Kelly Barnhill. I hope that you really enjoyed this book so far. We read now up to chapter 15. So today I'm gonna ask you a few questions about chapter 15, and let's dive right in. Okay? So in chapter 13. We learned about Antane, right? And in the last two paragraphs, the last page, the end, it said, the birds squawked and keened and screeched. They sharpened their paper wings like knives. They massed in great murmurations, swelling and contracting and swelling again. They reared up for the attack. Antane covered his face with his hands, and then they were upon him, right? So what did you think was going to happen there? We're now learning about Antane. So what did you think was going to happen there? I thought that he would get like a few cuts, but nothing serious. I didn't know what was going to happen to the mad woman. Probably she was going to get imprisoned, punished, but yeah, he was probably gonna get minimal injuries. But look at this. The scars from the paper birds never healed, not properly anyway. Those are the first two sentences in chapter 15, which is the title is "In Which Antane Tells a Lie." Like, could you believe that? They're only paper. Like, just. Yeah, can you or can you not believe them? No. I've had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of paper cuts, and I'm pretty sure that he had a lot, that some blood was drawn, right? But scars, first of all of them should have healed. And the scars, there's not supposed to be any scars. And also there was a lot of bleeding and infections, and they're deep scars. So not just small scars, but like deep scars. Deep. Could you believe it? And I have a question. Do you think that this is just going to make Antane, what do you think he's going to do about that? About all those scars all over his face like that? I just thought it was just so terrible for him, because nobody deserves to get scarred like that, right? You know what I mean? Nobody just deserves to get scarred. So I have a question. Why do you think that Antane's mother was so sad? One, looking good is gonna help you in lots of things of life. Two, he has some lost potential. Three, she probably felt sad for her son too. This was permanent, and I just think that Antane's mother. Do you think that she's a good person? She isn't a bad person, but I don't think that she's a good person either. She makes too much of a big deal out of Antane, and I think that she's pressuring him too much. If he wants to do something else, he should do something else. Why does he need to be part of the council? For all she knows, he might have like a special ability on making medicines. Maybe he would have made something like, I don't know, the amazing Tylenol, and because of that, he would have gotten rich and famous. Oh yeah, I know. Big exaggeration. Point is, Antane's mother, very, very big. She makes a big deal out of everything like that. And also, were you surprised, the medicines, right? The medicines that the sisters had given, who was the mad woman, or just the woman, right? Luna's mother, she did not, because of those, she was woozy, and that was how, even when the woman tried to stop the infections with paper, the bleeding with paper, nothing helped, right? So, and the thing was, this was sort of the sister's fault. The medicines, which, made sure that the woman wasn't very good at wasn't good at covering the cuts, but that wasn't important. Just nobody heard him. They just abandoned him like that. I mean, if they actually think that she's a dangerous person, then why aren't they guarding her? It's just crazy. And would you have blamed the sisters or not? Well, I mean, they did look really, really surprised, but they probably have had acting lessons, right? I mean, sometimes the best battle is won with acting. So like you could act like a very hurt person. You could be like crawling along, and then the enemy comes along. Of course, you pretend to be you really agree with the enemy. The enemy helps you up. Bam, 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 bam. Seconds later, you have gotten the enemy. It's sort of like that. Point is, acting can help. And so, do you think that they were actually telling the truth? I mean, they probably were, but they are sort of creepy. They take the babies, like they're like without even thinking about them, and so they are sort of creepy. But I don't think so. But how could they have just abandoned them? And do you think that if you happen somebody in the village, do you think that you would have believed that he had cut it, that Antane was mad? Because think about it. I mean, it didn't seem like there was anything dangerous, and paper couldn't have done anything, right? Besides, how can paper birds even move? And where did the woman get all the paper and Antane, he was sort of like crazy. Maybe he just didn't shout at all. And all of those things piles up. So would you have thought that he was mad? I wouldn't have thought that he was mad. Not crazy. I would have just said maybe he needs to rest a little. But I think that he isn't crazy. I mean, of course he's not crazy. We read the truth, and we know the paper birds actually cut him. And were you surprised that Antane, quit the council, or were you not that surprised? Well, I actually thought that Antane was never gonna be fit for the council, and here he actually quits. And were you surprised that he became a carpenter? I mean, he almost got to the council, now he's a carpenter. What did you think? Did you think that was a step down? I don't think that he actually took a step down. I think that he took a step up. One, he did something that he loved. He liked woodworking, remember? And also, along with doing something that he loved, he also did something honest and good. He wasn't evil, like he didn't ever go to the council, which is awesome, right? And then finally, along with all those things, now he can live a good life. I mean, and he's a pretty good person, right? He got the council's support, and because of it, he gets a good amount of money, and he opened his own business. So in a way, it's a pretty good thing. What did you think about that? Now, if you had been Antane, what would you have become? Now remember this. You're Antane, meaning that you are connected to the council. Now, it's like this. Let's say that you are the prince of Babylonia thousands of years ago. And let's say that you were trying to get to the council, you failed. I mean, you were still prince of Babylonia, so you could say, well, I'm just gonna become the best doctor in the world. I'm gonna become the most high-paying doctor in the world. Now, if he studied for it, right? I mean, he needs to study a little for it, right? But he has a big chance, and he's probably gonna get that job because, you know, the royal family totally gonna help him. So just think about it like that. And that gives Antony lots of power, right, to do what he wanted. So if you have been Antony, what would you have done? I wouldn't have opened a carpenting shop. I would have opened, I don't know. I like writing and reading, so I think that I would have been a writer. And I would also maybe open my own printing press. So, I mean, I would like to be a doctor, but it doesn't seem like a place, it's not a modern place. Like, for example, maybe I could have become like a computer engineer, but I couldn't because there's no computers there. So that limits my options, but still, I like writing, and maybe if I can open a printing press, people can actually get to be able to read, and that would be awesome, right? And that would give me so much power. I would be the only printer, and I would be the person supplying everybody with books. Woo-hoo! And besides, that's gonna help a lot of people. And so, how do you think that his mother would have felt? Antony's mother is like so mad. She's like, how could you have left the council, boy? Ah! Right? And do you think that this is the right reaction? What do you think that she should have been saying? She should have been congratulating him about opening a good carpenting shop. She should have been, you know, helping him with the wounds, and she should have been comforting him. Not screaming, not yelling, what kind of person leaves the council, unquote. So, it's just that. She is not a very helpful mother, in my opinion. And do you think that if you had been Antony, you could stand it, or do you think that you would have just, you know, exploded? I would have probably exploded at some moment, and I really admire Antony's patience, right? Even after all the things that his mother says. And what do you think is the worst thing that she says here? And if you just, you know, think that everything is same bad, then you can just, you know, choose that option. And Antony's business was a huge success. Mayors were like, please come. And he was very famous and popular, and traders were like, I'll give you this much money. And Antony would be like, I'm busy. I have to do some other stuff. And they'll be like, oh, I gave you this much money. Actually, I'll give you this much money. Just give us some wood carvings. And now Antony's mother is like, yeah, I knew that my son would be like a total success. I knew it. And if she had said that, if you had been Antony, what would you have said? I would have said, what? Okay, you did not think that you owe me 5 boba teas. And yes, boba teas are a very important part of my life. So 5 boba teas are huge. But they probably did not have boba teas back then. So I don't know, but the equivalent of boba teas, I would have said, you never thought that you accused me of leaving the council. You owe me 5 boba teas. But Antony just suppresses a smile and says, yes, mother. Do you think you could say that after she was howling at the fact that he had just quit the council and done something that he liked to do? It's just pretty terrible in my opinion. And how do you think of Antony's life? Do you think it's a bad life or a good life? I mean, he's right now alone and lonely, right? And yeah, he lives a good life. He has lots of money, but everybody winces at his faces and nothing's the same. So, and some people are whispering about him behind his back. Is it a good life or not? I wouldn't call it a bad life. I'll just say a pretty good life, actually. With all the money, I would have financial stability and all that. So yeah, I think that it would be an okay life, but sometimes it would be pretty terrible, like when people winced and when people whispered behind me. But still, it was a pretty good life in my opinion. At least it's not a bad one. And yeah, I'm gonna sort of skip the conversation between Auntie and his mother. I mean, it is important, but I think that we should get on to more important stuff because more important stuff are coming. But I have one thing to do. I have one thing to ask. So there's these two sentences. It says, "This was a lie. With each lie he told, the next became easier." Unquote. Do you think that really, as you lie, it becomes easier to lie or not? Not easier, but you sort of get into the habit of lying, which is pretty bad. You get into the habit of lying, you start to get better at lying, and maybe you even feel better about lying. Those are a few things that you should not be feeling. You should be feeling, lying, you should avoid it at all times, so yeah. And now, Sister Ignatia finally he got to the base of the tower, right? Do you think that he should go in or not? No, he should not go in. But yeah. How do you think that Sister Ignatia was? I mean, she was pretty mean, right? She never really contacted Auntie. She never said sorry, and she sort of seemed mean. Like, if you have an auntie, would you have wanted to talk to her? No, I wouldn't have. And since suddenly we realized that somebody did not want to go into the higher level of the Sisters of the Star, right? And who did you think they would be? And were you surprised that Athene didn't even wince? Because even his mother flinched, but she didn't even wince, right? I mean, and she acted like everything was normal. Could you even believe that? I mean, she hasn't even met him in so long, and she doesn't even really react to like his totally changed face, right? Seriously, can you believe that? And my question here is, do you think that it's realistic that she is acting like that or not? And now, why do you think that Athene even left? That's the question that we're gonna end with today for The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I hope that you enjoyed this awesome chapter in an awesome book by Kelly Barnhill. Now, few last questions. What was your favorite part in this chapter? Mine was probably his Antaeus carpenter success. Really liked that. And I really liked how he became rich and famous. Pretty cool. And then your favorite part of the whole book so far, which is 15 chapters. Who's your favorite character and your least favorite character? Also, for predictions, I'll ask these 5 questions. 1, what do you think is going to happen with Luna? Do you think she's ever going to learn magic? 2, do you think that Antaeus is going to live alone for the rest of his life? I mean, his life seems so lonely. 3, do you think that everybody will stop flinching, or do you think that this flinching will continue for the rest of his life? 4, do you think that he's going to do something because he remembers that day when the mad woman, Luna's mother, was clinging to the rafters. So do you think that she'll do something? Do you think that he will do something? Do you think that he'll try to free that woman or not? And 5, do you think the council is ever going to die? I don't mean like die. I mean like is the council ever gonna get demolished and all the people in the council are gonna go to jail? I mean like that type of die, not like like that kind of die. So those are gonna be the predictions. Hope you liked the book so far. Yeah, how did you like the book so far? Hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see you next time. Goodbye.